And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into it. It is a Thursday night. It's taken me all week to figure out what day, what evening, and I think I got to figure it out because we've just wrapped up the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday 3-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I'm sorry to say, it didn't work out the way I planned today. And really, on a positive note, it didn't work out the way I thought it would work out before the series started. Giant Sports Talk Live, we're going to talk about today's game, and I specifically on the show tonight want to hear from you, the Giants fans out there. I mean, a lot of people are engaged in National Football League tonight. The big draft is underway, but for those of you who don't care about that stuff, we're going to do a quick half-hour show tonight, and that's what it's about. Talking baseball here in Giant Sports Talk Live. I was at the game today. If you were with us earlier, Eric, Lou, and I, we talked about what we saw, and it was not good today. Can't believe the Giants mustered up just, okay, I'm not kidding, one hit. One hit in the game. Guess who got that hit? Oh, that guy, he's over the hill. He's bad defensively. He's got no speed. There was every excuse in the book, including, he can't hit. He just can't hit. Arise. He gets the lone hit today for your San Francisco Giants in a 3-0 loss. Tyler Glasnow is absolutely phenomenal. He went 8 full, struck out 9 San Francisco Giants batters. He had them on their heels all day long with just that one hit. Meanwhile, Logan Webb, he gave up 7 hits. He gave up all 3 runs. He only struck out 5 in the game. And, Eric says sooner or later he's got to get, it's got to come together for Webb. But I'm concerned that the Webb we see is the Webb we get. It's very unpredictable most nights, what we're going to get from Logan Webb. What do you guys think? Dean is here with us tonight. Good to see you, Dean. I haven't seen Dean in a long time. Was hoping I'd see you at the Dodgers series. Overall, a good series for the pitching. Lineup is still a massive concern. Absolutely. I mean, the problem I've got, Dean, with the lineup so far is just the absolute sheer inconsistency that we get from this lineup. Game in, game out, series in, series out. Now, they play a weaker sister. It seems like that's the level they play. They play the Dodgers. They stepped it up a bit. They got some good defense. I'll give you that in the first couple of games. And today, it wasn't that bad. I mean, but I thought they gave away the game. Couple of throws home. Should never have gone home. Allowed advanced runners from the Dodgers to advance to second base. So that's, it's just careless baseball. Stuff you learn at a young age you don't do. But other than that, you know what? The bats, they show up. We usually do well. The bats don't show up. Today is a product of that, and that is the net result, a loss. I got the link up. Anybody wants to come in? We're doing a quick show. Just want to hear from you, the viewers. I know Chardal's got to be out there somewhere. My God, what's the over-under on the minutes before I hear from Chardal on this quick show tonight? Isabel's in the house. Hi, Isabel. Isabel is a Dodgers fan, but she's welcome here. And Isabel makes an appearance on the chat almost nightly. So we're glad to have you on board again tonight. RG Candlestick is here. I was thinking, RG, nothing like it, baby. I was thinking that today. I saw that the Giants keep putting up on the big digital scoreboard in center field. Giants baseball, nothing like it. And I'm thinking to myself today, damn right. Giants baseball, nothing like it. It's time, it's time for kind of a refresher. Don't you think? I mean, you guys agree. Come on, you want a fresh look at the ball club, fresh marketing, just everything's got to get renewed, fresh in this ball club. That's just the way I feel. When you're over there and you get every night, Giants baseball, nothing like it. And usually, you know what? I thought we'd get more pop out of the bat. These guys aren't hitting home runs. Really? Not getting any hits. I mean, that was a trouble today. But my God, I expected every time I sat down at Oracle Park this week to hear ba 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 and hear, bye bye baby. They could have played that about 30 times a game, starting in about the second inning. Because every time I looked, the fans were leaving early in the game. So I'm tired of this BS. And like I said, you can talk about the big crowds, giant fans, they're all into it. But I'll tell you what, Dodgers fans had them beat at Oracle Park this week. They know how to cheer for their team. Is what it is. You've got to be there. Dean, you've been there. You know what it's like. You see the Dodger fans invade. There were buses lined up on Berry Street outside the Dugout store across the strip. Buses lined up. Bus tours coming in for the series. And, that's how you travel. That's how you get out on the road. And, I think someone is here. It is. It's Bernice. She's just sneaking through the set. She doesn't even stop to say hi tonight. She goes, I ain't going near that camera. Mark is here. Mark, I was showing you some of my cards earlier today. I put a package in the mail to you. Hopefully you enjoy what you get. And uh-oh. I thought I was going to go it alone tonight. But you just never know who's going to show up on Giant Sports Talk Live after a couple of cocktails. Is it the great Chardall? No, it's not.
And now, a special guest appearance, Lou Marsden, on tonight's edition of Giant Sports Talk Live.
And I only get to use that because you said, I got plans. It's Thursday night, but Lou loves talking Giants baseball. Couldn't keep you away.
Glenn, you know what? We're teammates. Even though sometimes the Giants don't look like a team, but I didn't want to let you down. I know how hard it is to do solo, so I got back. I know you were going to be starting at 8. Sorry, I'm 5-10 minutes late, but I just came from Tommy's and met your buddy Enrique, and he said, Lou, get back there and help Glenn out. He's your teammate, and that's something the Giants didn't do today. And, why not? Why not come back? I'm home. And I had a little couple of margaritas, so I will try to be on my best behavior. But, I love talking Giants ball, even after a loss. But I love what your topic is. Look what the Giants have done so far and be realistic. And I think, one of the things about Giant Sports Talk Live is we speak for the fans as a fan. And I think, one of the things that I spoke about on the earlier show, we've only scored twice in 36 innings.
Yeah.
So let me repeat that. We have played 4 games and we've only scored in 2 innings, both times 3. So that tells you there's something definitely wrong with the offense. And, hey, I'm glad we took 2 out of 3. But when you really look at it, if Bailey doesn't hit that bomb yesterday, where I thought they should have pinch hit, they would have been taking 2 out of 3 themselves. So I think it's one of those things where I'd rather talk about Giants baseball and, of course, the Lucky Charm than watch the NFL draft, which means absolutely nothing to me.
That's what I said. I like to tune into a little football, Lou. I wait till the players are on the field, not on the stage. How about that?
Exactly. But no, I think you bring up a great topic. By the way,
well, it may be something we're going to discuss in the show. I appreciate you coming in tonight. I don't mind flying solo. I just love talking about I get the crowd.
Yeah, of course.
You know me. It doesn't take long before I get them all pissed off about something, Lou. So we'll see if that happens tonight. But hold that thought. Speaking of Enrique, speaking of Tommy's,
Hey, it's Henry for Tommy's, and we are so glad to have Giant Sports Talk Live as far as Tommy's family. We're so proud to be their major sponsor, and hey, please come to have a cocktail with us and go Giants.
There you go. You can't beat that. How about that? Good job, Enrique. Big fan of the show. We're a big fan of his. He's just a good guy, Luke. Good kid.
Great kid. Great personality. And, as you know, when you first went to Tommy's with me, he really makes you feel like you're part of the family. And I think that's what's unique. He apologizes if you have to wait 2 minutes for a drink. Just an overall great guy. And that's what really makes the vibe of Tommy's all around. And, we really appreciate their sponsorship, and we love going there, and we'll definitely do another meet and greet. And they took such good care of us, from the shirts to the pullovers, treating everyone well. And, we were lucky enough to have a sponsor after we lost another sponsor, and it's just overall great vibe, and we're so lucky to have them.
Awesome. And hey, JB says Tommy's over Prize Picks. I don't know what that means. I'm not getting into that one here. And hey, yeah, you got it. Mark, we're not talking about Lou Whitaker here, are we? Sweet Lou. That's the other Sweet Lou. Whitaker. Our own Sweet Lou is a great teammate indeed. He is. Are you following any hockey? Mark is saying great night of hockey tonight. That's when you're a Giant fan, Lou, and you do this. I haven't gotten a chance to settle in, watch some good puck.
I think the one thing about puck is it's all about defense, and you got to really cut away from the mistakes. One thing about hockey is you get a hot goalie. There are so many 2-1 games. It's been really defense.
Play the under
tonight. Yeah, always play the under. In fact, the first round, they have a bet where it's under a goal and a half in the first period. All 12 games went under. And there's a few surprises too. Edmonton is usually really good. Is 1-1 with Anaheim. Colorado, who has the best. What's amazing about hockey is it used to be if you won the President's Trophy, which is the most points, you always went to the finals. But now it's a mystery. Those teams are always getting eliminated, and there is nothing. Let me repeat that: nothing better than NHL hockey. Every game is amazing. The fans are amazing. And if you've never been to a game live, get to a playoff game. And the one thing is, in the Bay Area, guys, I know the Giants are struggling. I know the Niners are struggling. We have the Valkyries, Glenn's team. But next year, when you get a chance, go see the Sharks. They're young. They're energetic. And might as well see them now, because in about 3 years, you're not going to be able to get tickets. They're that good.
Right on. You can't beat them. Carolina's up 3-0. They beat Ottawa tonight by a score of 2-1 up in the nation's capital. I think the game was actually in Ottawa. Buffalo has beaten Boston 3-1, and game underway right now. They're almost midway through the contest, 12:47 second period. Colorado Avalanche, the LA Kings are notched at 1. That's the latest could have changed on your TV. You can let us know as the evening progresses. All right, we've talked a little hockey. We got some people waiting in the green room. We'll do that. But quick review. We did it earlier today. I thought once wasn't enough. This was a big series, Lou. It was a big series. I said a couple of things off the top of this show. I'll let you interject. I said, a little surprised we could only muster up one hit today.
Well, the real A's showed up.
And I was a little surprised. Yeah, and I was a little surprised. Logan Webb does not seem to come through like everybody predicts. Oh, he's the ace. On the other hand, Lou, give the props, give credit where credit's due. I didn't expect to be sitting here on Thursday night saying we took 2 out of 3 from LA. So, I mean, which way are you slicing the loaf?
I think a little give and take. I was very satisfied, but at the same time, your lucky charm came through. I mean, yesterday with Bailey getting the 3-run homer, he would have been the least guy you thought would have gotten the hit. Of course, he came back tonight to reality where he didn't do anything. But, that's sort of how the Giants are. They are now 5-2 in their last 7 games. But of the 5 wins, it's really been a team effort. But this is the one team when they're going against a real good pitcher, they struggle. When they go against sort of a medium guy, they do well. That's when they score 7 runs on 13 hits. But as we spoke about earlier today, Miami is a tough team. They're going to put the runs up. They got their 2 studs going back and forth. It's Eric's favorite. Sandy's pitching tomorrow night. I will be there. Glenn, you'll be there. But I think a lot of people got to remember what happened last year in the middle of the season. Giants, not a problem. Come in to play Miami and get swept. Let me repeat that. Get swept. So the Giants got to be ready. And, Miami has nothing to worry about. They got a better record than us. They got a lot of young guys that can hit. They have a former Giant guy that's really doing really well. So it's going to be a struggle. It used to be, Miami's in town. It's an easy 2 out of 3, maybe sweep. No, they got to come on, get ready for tomorrow and get going, or they're going to be taking 2 out of 3. Miami's one of those teams where you got to put up or you're behind the 8 ball. And that's how I feel.
Absolutely, Lou. And, this is, as I said on the show earlier today, and I don't take this series lightly, Lou. I think this is kind of, for me, we've had good and bad so far this year. We've had games we've won I didn't think we would, and it's very reminiscent of last year, isn't it? Games I thought we'd lose, we win. Games I'm like, this is an easy win, and we lose. You never know. It's like a box of Cracker Jacks, this ball club, whatever you get. You don't know what you're going to get any given night. That having been said, I think this is a key weekend, Lou. What kind of team is going to show up to play the Miami Marlins? Because we all know what happened last year. You touched on it. It's been a topic of conversation many a night here on Giant Sports Talk Live. It's when the Giants play up to the level of the competition, they seem to get, skunked. And like you said, you go up against a good pitch. Nothing wrong with Sandy going tomorrow for Miami. There's going to be a tough assignment, Lou, to get things underway this weekend.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point. We play to the competition, but that's got disaster written all over it. Especially at home. The Giants still have a losing record at home, as we all know. And, they got to show up. This is the major leagues. And I think too many times the Giants, we used to be able to beat these teams just showing up at Oracle. One of the things I wanted to bring out about this series, hey, the Dodgers, Giants, it was like 60-40. Now, I did not go to any of the games. I know you went to them, but at least on TV, it seemed the Dodgers dominated, especially today where the Giants are going for the sweep. The Dodgers fans would not let them lose, even though it was a road game. Glasnow put them on the performance, but you could hear in the ABS formula every time Bailey was wrong, which has been happening a lot, the crowd burst. It was almost like it was a Dodger home game. And that's something that Oracle Park has to stop. They got to start bringing the Giant fans in. I know they're doing the $10 deals. I know they're doing a senior citizen deal. I know if you're a Vietnam veteran, they're doing deals. But they got to start packing that place. Tuesday and Wednesday, the Dodgers are in, but that place needs to be full. I know today they said another 40,000. It did not look that crowded, Glenn. I don't know what you thought about the crowd, but it's getting to the point now. You can't keep doing giveaways and cheap prices. It's all about the product on the field if the people are going to show up.
I've said it before, Lou. I mean, if you're selling tickets to a Major League ball game for $5, and some of their package deals are like $25, but you get a dog and a beer too, which works out to you're getting in for $4.99. I mean, they're looking for homeless fans. I swear to God, Lou, they're trying to get the homeless in there. But bring the whole family for $25. The problem with that, Lou, is that's the quality of the product you're trying to sell.
I agree. And, starting on Saturday, Glenn, I know you're doing the doubleheader. They got a little competition down the road. And as we know, the Valkyries are selling out every home game. It doesn't matter. It's now year 2 of them. They got a little competition down the road. So, this place better start performing, or why would people see a product average when they can see an above average product right down the road and a cheaper price?
Lou, let me ask you something. Before we get to line one, we got a couple of people waiting. I hate leaving them there, but we've got some good topics going. Before we roll into our callers, our viewers who are joining us tonight, can I put Lou under the microscope tonight? This is your chance, Lou. All last year, all I heard, before we reeled you in over on this network, all I remember was, the Valkyries, it's a one-year thing. They'll not make the playoffs. Nobody's going to go. Were you wrong, Lou?
I was completely wrong. First of all, for an expansion team, I thought they'd maybe win 5 to 8 games. I never thought they'd make the playoffs. It really, yeah. And I think that the thing is they have an owner that cares. And that maybe shows the problem with the Giants.
Yep.
We all hear about how negative Johnson is, why they bought the current theater, why they won't spend money, why this year they only spent 57% of what they make. I'm a little sick and tired of everyone saying, oh, the Dodgers are buying these championships. No, they're not. They are actually using their money the right way. The Giants, as Glenn will use, are always safe picks. Look at the guys we picked up in the offseason.
Safe bets.
Okay. All safe bets and cheap, except for Arias, where, remember, nobody wanted him because of what happened last year. And if you listen to Giant Sports Talk Live, we loved the performance. It was a professional hitter. Probably the first time since someone like Scudero or Will Clark, where a guy actually knows what he's doing at the plate. That's one of the biggest problems. You guys all love Chapman. He's not a professional hitter. He's having a great year this year, but again, it's very early. Adames, who was the Willie McCovey Mac Award winner last year, come on, he had 31 homers, but the guy batted .220. I'm going to tell you guys, I've run into 2 former players. When I was in Augusta, I ran into Gary Shetfield, and I asked him a specific question. Do you follow baseball now? And he says, no, it's crap. He goes, guys are batting 200, and it's hard to watch.
Coming from a former player, Lou.
I'm embarrassed. He batted .291. He goes, if I were to bat 200, I would have been thrown out of the league. He goes, these guys, they all try to hit the long ball. He goes, baseball is sort of easy. The same thing when I ran into Reggie Jackson in Las Vegas. I asked him, I said, what an amazing World Series. And he goes, what? Are you sure you watch the same World Series? He goes, it's so hard. These guys don't do the basics. They take it for granted, and they're happy when they bat .225. He goes, no. He goes, that would never go in our league. And I think that's the one problem is with the Giants, because of what happened a decade ago, we put up with mediocrity. If you guys imagine if we didn't have Arias, how bad our hitting would be. It's the same thing where, right now the Giants are 26 games in. And again, he's had 2 nice performances for 2 saves, but our closer's nothing. He's probably one of the worst in the league. Okay. Our bullpen's been solid. We have maybe 1 starter that has been effective the whole year. We're not talking about Webb or Ray because they haven't been effective, right? We have 1 guy, Roop. So the Giants have a lot of problems. The other thing is everyone talked about how great Adames was as a leadoff hitter. Have you guys noticed what he did the last week? All these averages are starting to get back to reality. And the Giants are basically the same team offensively, but they're lucky they have someone like Arias just to help them show that they actually can, participate in these games. The Giants, hey, listen, we're still not at 500. We were all happy that the Giants took 2 out of 3, but guys, until we're 500, 30 games in, I'm not going to be satisfied. And as we went today, our schedule is going to be a lot tougher. And we're going against 2 quality pitchers Friday and Saturday, and we'll see what this offense is made of.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up, make sure I'm right on. Yeah, they're updated. So San Francisco, Lou, 11-14. They're playing .440 ball. Colorado is 10-16. So, I mean, you can say all you want, but we're still down in the doldrums, Lou. You bring up a good point. I like to, Eric won't do it, but I'm glad you were here tonight to do it for me. I don't like bringing up the Valkyries, but you bring up, it's an awesome point, Lou. The fact that their ownership, they make it an event. I go there. It's fun, Lou. It's a different, there's no dunk. I love it. A lot of threes. That's what I love. Threes. I'd rather a 3 than a dunk any day. And believe it or not, the women's ball, some days are like what I call jail yard ball. They're physical, Lou. I don't know if you've heard. The women's ball, oh, man, it's physical. So I love the brand, but the event itself and the atmosphere that is created you've heard me say it, Lou. I'm over at the ball game again today, and I wish I took a little video I could show you because it pisses me off. When I talked to a couple, and they were from Korea, And I said, "Oh, what's the ball?" He goes, "Oh, I go to one game a week over in Korea." I said, "Oh, that must be. I've seen him on television."
Yeah.
And this couple, the guy and girl, they go, "Yeah, it's sort of watered down here. There's no atmosphere in the stadium. Over there's cheerleaders and every ball players, their walk-up music. Some of them got country ballads and crap here. And Lou, and they got DJ Umami out there." I go, "Don't pay any attention to DJ Umami tonight." And they go, every player's walk-up music is like written for them. The Jung-Hoo Lee one was fantastic when he was over in Korea. And the Japanese league's the same thing. It's all about the players, the hype, the atmosphere. And they said, "Yeah, we find it's a little quiet. I said, "Quiet? This is noisy because it's full of Dodger fans." So
and you bring up a great point. Without Lee, there's really nobody that they get excited when somebody comes up with bat.
Why, Lou? Why Lee? Why? What has he done for us lately?
I mean, the guy's been performing, but he's singles. He's he's not worth $18 million. But the problem is, and I think a lot of the chat got to realize this, we don't have really any superstars. Arias right now is our hitter, but we have settled for mediocrity. We're happy when we're a 500 team. We're happy. You know what they should be is, guys, Colorado's almost going to be us. We're going to be in the cellar. If you notice our division, the Padres, Dodgers are way up. Arizona's above us, and Colorado's running our ass. That's embarrassing. We're the San Francisco Giants. We're the 5th biggest market. We should never even be in this situation. And the other thing is, you went to the Dodger games. How would the atmosphere be tomorrow night when Florida comes in? It's going to be quiet. When you go Saturday, you're going to have a thing where you go into a day game at the best ballpark in the world. You're going to see the Giants and Miami. Mm-hmm. Then an hour later, you're going to go to the Valkyries game. You're going to have something to compare on when it shouldn't be comparable. Okay? The Valkyries have a great product.
Videos, Lou. I'll take you a couple of videos.
The major league game on a Saturday, it should be, and that's the problem with the Giants. Their management mediocrity. We all figured Buster was going to be in charge and things would be different. They're not different. To tell you the truth, the Giants are probably the same or even worse with Buster in charge. That's a problem. And I know this is second year, and last year we gave him a mulligan, but now it's the second year. I have a question, except for Arias, let's put it behind us. Tell me what Buster has done in his 2 years to make the Giants better.
Yeah, it's true. Let's ask Dean on line 2. He looks more like Harry Potter with the haircut. Look at that. The Harry Potter look going on tonight. Dean, you're no average fan. I haven't seen you lately, though. I'm starting to wonder. But is this?
I'll be there tomorrow for what it's worth.
I'll see you tomorrow night then. I'm in 327 as usual. But is this an average team like Lou says?
Right now, they're looking at average is a nice way of putting it.
Well said. Yeah, there you go, Lou.
Listen. There's definitely some things about this hitting lineup that is extremely concerning. And, when we think about, I want to pose this question to the both of you first. What is the Giants hitting, or what is the Giants' proposed hitting identity?
That's a good question. That, Lou, I said off the top of the show, I don't know if you came in a little later, Dean, off the very top of the show, I said this is a San Francisco Giant team that I thought would hit more home runs. I don't like them doing that. It's got to be more, fluctuate. The team's got to fluctuate. They got to be able to get base hits and get runners over, and they need the full package to win. But absolutely. I did think there'd be more home runs. I don't think they have an identity. How about you, Lou? They really don't have that bad identity.
I think the problem with the Giants is because we got the batting coach from Toronto, we figure we're going to be like Toronto. The problem is it's easier said than done. You got to have the personnel that can do that. And I think the problem with the Giants is they're very mediocre. And what I mean by that is when they went 5-1, it took a whole team for them to win, right? I mean, let's use 2 nights ago, Bailey. He was your hero. It wasn't one of the big guys making the money. The night before, Devers got a big hit in the first inning, okay? He finally came through with a big 2-out hit. But a lot of these guys are not producing crooked numbers. Again, I brought up the subject, 4 games, you only scored in 2 innings. That's almost hard to do when you really think about it. And the other thing too is a lot of these guys are letting other people do the work. And what I mean by this is when Adames is hot, Chapman follows him. But this is a type of team where they'll put 5 hits together in 1 inning, look great, and then they'll go a whole game where their 3 studs want them to get 5 hits together. And I think it's a problem. I think the other problem is we use this terminology a lot, flavor of the week. And, we had a new center fielder come up who was only there because of injuries. We had 2 guys come up, and you saw a little spark, right? But how long is that going to last? As you noticed today, defensively was horrible again. With Ramos, they had to sit down for 2 games. He came back, had 3 great games, but it's got to be longer. We just can't have guys that show up for 3 to maybe 7 days. It's got to be the whole season. Remember, we got 162 games, guys. We still got over 133 games left. And with this offense, there's just too many holes in the offense to be productive. And if you look at every team above us, Arizona, they don't go through these hitting slumps. San Diego, they don't go through these hitting slumps. San Diego goes, okay, we got a problem. Let's get another starter. Giants don't do that. Okay. You go with the Dodgers. Dodgers, again, it's not easy. Their road trip might have looked easy on paper, but they don't play it on paper. Colorado's a lot better home team. They played 4 in Colorado. They then came to the rivals. Now, they didn't really pitch that bad considering in 3 games they only gave up 6 runs, but the Giants were lucky enough to get 2 wins. I think the problem with the Giants is the big guys have to show up. And until they figure out Devers, which is still a problem, Chapman, who's been good off and on, there are still a lot of holes. If you really take Lee out of the picture and Arias, who's been there consistently since day one? And
who's been there to cheer for? Who's been there to cheer for too,
Yeah.
Lou? And I'm glad you brought up an excellent point as always. I mean, you're on top of your game tonight. Bringing up the San Diego Padres, they had pitching depth with Giolito, and this isn't a team that just panicked and went out and got him. This is a team of 17-8, tied for first with the Dodgers, Lou. So they're getting better. This team, to me, I mean, there's no arguing, Lou, and I think you'll agree with Dean. This is a team that is just mired yet happy with mediocrity. There's no urgency to get better. What are they doing?
No, yeah, I'm definitely hearing that. And so kind of the piggyback off of what y'all are saying. So yeah, absolutely. So far, the power has been non-existent. We're tied for fewest home runs in baseball. We have one of the lowest OPSs in all of baseball. And our slugging is, I think, second worst in all of baseball, pretty close to being worst.
Dean, doesn't that really, what you've just said and the question you posed go hand in hand? They really don't have any identity. They're bad in all aspects in the batter's box.
So here's the thing. There are some things that I look at with the stats and I'm like, okay, there's pieces here. For example,
well, enlighten us.
Batting average has not actually been that bad so far this season. We're in the top half batting average. I'll take that. So and I think a lot of that has been predicated on Arias being Arias. Now, that being said, I also look at their strikeouts. They're not actually striking out as much as they used to. They're currently top 3 in strikeouts. But here's the problem. Look at their walks. We have 47 walks on the season. You want to know how many more the team in 29th has? They have over 18 more walks than the San Francisco Giants do in the Arizona Cardinals. We are by far the worst walking team in the league. And so it sort of takes the strikeout points out of into a little bit more context. It's not that they're striking out because they're not seeing the ball. They're striking out because they're fouling off everything. And I know that we like to put the ball in play, right? It's like you put the ball in play, anything can happen. I know Eric talks about that a lot. But if you're going to play that way, if you're going to lean on your station to station baseball, then you have to do other things well. You have to walk. you have to steal bases.
Yeah.
You have to put pressure on the pitcher. And right now, that's especially where those power hitters are. We're really missing them right now, because we can get some guys on base, but the power hitters, when we have those guys on base, are not putting any pressure on the defense. They're not putting any pressure on the pitching, because most of the time, and one last thing I want to talk about here. I don't know what it is exactly about Oracle Park specifically, but the offense is hitting terribly at Oracle Park compared to on the road so far this season. Like, let's taking a look at some numbers. There's only 3, I believe, players who have a higher OPS at home than they do on the road, being Arise, Chapman, Devers. Those are the only 3. And I think Devers has a higher one only because he has his 2 only home runs of the season at home so far. So I think that contextualizes that. But take a look at everybody else here. Schmidt has been having a pretty good season. A lot of it has been on the road so far. Schmidt's OPS on the road, 924. Pretty freaking good. Schmidt's OPS at home, 496. Nearly half that. All right. And then Jung-Hoo Lee had a great road trip. OPS of 903 on the road now because of it. OPS at home, 375. Almost a third of the original.
Yeah.
Right? Adames, again, also had a pretty good road trip. 815 OPS on the road. OPS at home, 551. There's nothing outside of.
Did you
Chapman
say Devers? What do we got for Devers?
Nobody is hitting at home.
What do we got for Devers?
Devers, his road OPS is 528 and his home OPS is 642. Not what you want to see out of your slugger.
There you go. But again, I don't think the confines of the ballpark are made. I mean, you're going to get what you get out of Devers, but again, I think Devers is going to be a better road hitter, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and I'll give him
I expect a drop off, but like that cantankerously low. Like, we're seeing guys with half OPS.
Wait a sec. Some of these stats, I gotta tell you, you guys watch. Lou watches most of the games. I go to most of the games in person. And I'll tell you one thing, you can talk about Casey Schmidt. He's batting decently and maybe not as good as on the road, but at home, how many has he landed, Lou, deep onto the warning track? Last night, he almost took one directly down the left field foul pole before it was caught. He is a victim of the ballpark, I feel, in many ways, too. If you want guys to be sluggers, this field is. And somebody brought up a good point to me, Lou, the other day. They said, why don't the Giants, one season, just try, move the fences in, maybe sculpt it into a more modern, the rounded out field. Nice, just some nice numbers. I go, they're more concerned about the marketing. It's got to be 415 feet for the 415 area code and the 415 club. And just give me baseball. Give me baseball. And Lou, half of their hits would be going out of the ballpark in Cincinnati.
Yeah. I see that, but opposing teams don't have a problem with the ballpark. It's the personnel that we have.
True.
We don't have the personnel that is actually made for this ballpark. Except for Arise that can really spray the ball. It's just one of those things. I mean, we talked about Casey. Casey hit one the other night. He didn't even know if the ball was even fair, and it was fair by 30 feet way up there. I think it's just these guys are not professional hitters. I think too many times, and at least at home where we've been sort of bombarded, it seems like every single player except Arise are always 0-1, 0-2. I've never seen anything. They're never ahead of the count. And again, I don't know if that's a philosophy. Hey, let's take a strike at home. I'm not sure, but we've been hearing this for 10 years with the ballpark. I mean, last year there were other shows saying, oh, we should bring it in, but it was amazing. The opposing teams never had a problem. They'd hit 2 or 3 homers. We'd be able to get 1.
Lou,
I think it's more the personnel.
Yeah, I agree, but not just the personnel we face. Factor in the pitching. These other guys hit well in our ball. Well, yeah, they're facing our pitching, Lou. Okay.
I never thought of that.
You know, let's call a spade a spade. This isn't a World Series championship winning bullpen, that's for sure. And starting staff unpredictable. We were thinking, weren't we all thinking, Lou, that it was going to be Ray, and obviously, the guys who think Webb is the ace. But we had them in the top echelon. Then we had Roop and we had the back end. I didn't know what the hell to expect from the back end. Roop, that was kind of a mystery. I thought he was going to come out strong. I think he's the ace of our staff so far. Dean, looking more like Harry. Harry, you want to just hang on for a few minutes? I'm going to put you back in the green room. I want to get some more of your great thoughts. And we got a couple of people waiting, Lou. And I hate when you get some good guests and then you try to squeeze the others in. I don't want to go too long without Justin saying hello. Hi, Justin.
Hey,
I was laughing at Lou.
Hey, at least you guys won the series. We got fucking swept.
Easy. We're trying to tone it down here out there. We're keeping it family friendly. You were playing the New York Yankees over there at the Fenway Park, weren't you?
Oh boy, I do want to say.
Did you get any of the games, Justin? Did you go?
No.
Oh, real fan here, Lou. Yeah, this guy talks a big game. I don't see him going.
It's a big rivalry. So I have a question, Justin, because how is Boston reacting to everything? You know, they've gotten off to a really tough start. You know, they're 9-16. You know, I love when you're on the show. Armand's the same way with the Mets.
Yeah.
You know, we have a few guys that are Philly fans. You know, a lot of the heavy hitters are not getting off good. What you being a fan, is it just early and you feel you're going to be okay? Because, you know, Armand, I mean, they lost 12. So, you know, how are you feeling? Hey, again, it's the Yankees. Pitching dominated this series. You guys having a problems hitting. I mean, what do you think about your team now? And can you guys overcome this and get back into it?
Lou, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't have faith in this. I don't have faith in this group of guys right now. I really don't.
Is it because you're missing a stud from last year and no one's filled the shoes? Because it seems like I watched 2 of these 3 games. You guys were always behind. Nobody got the big hit. And, you know, they kept saying, oh, it's Yankee pitching. Oh, it's Yankee pitching. Now, I do know you went 2 of the studs. And, again, you know, it would be the same way if they were playing the Giants. But, you know, 9-16, and we're complaining when we're 11-14. You know, is it going to be one of these years since you guys, hey, we finished last and then we came back and won the World Series? What do you feel or can they turn it around? Or is it just, hey, you know what, Lou? Thank God we have the Celtics. We'll just concentrate on the Celtics and we'll worry about Boston.
I'm not even confident in the Celtics right now. Listen, the Max Fried being Max Fried, okay, we kind of expected that because you guys faced Max Fried in San Francisco, and you know how on he was in that game. Cam Schlittler, my God,
he's been great all year. I mean, he's had one bad start, but he's been the Yankees stud too. I mean, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that he's from Walpole, Massachusetts, too. So.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know it's April and everyone's saying like it's early, but Lou, can I be honest with you? And I'm saying this right now. I don't think we're even going to win a series against the Yankees the rest of the season.
And you know it's tough because this year, you know, you and Toronto have not gotten off to good starts, obviously. But you know, Tampa Bay's playing good ball. You got the Yankees, and you got sort of surprise. The Orioles are right there with their staff, you know, and
we play the Orioles tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is you guys are minus 23 in run differential, so it's tough to win when the other team's getting that much more. Considering you guys have played 25 games and your run differential is minus 23, that's tough to overcome.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a fan that is blaming my team, but I'm being completely honest. I don't see us win a series at all against the Yankees at all.
Well, you only play them. Yeah, you only play them another. You only play them another 9 times. What about the rest of the league?
Well, we play you guys in August. We play the Dodgers in July. I don't know. I don't know. I think we lose 2 out of 3 to Baltimore this weekend.
That's not a good start. So you guys would be 10-18 to start.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough. And I think it's rough because you guys right now have more home games, than road games. And when you're starting off that bad and you have more home games than road games, well,
now let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling about facing Sandy Alcantara tomorrow?
Oh, I think it's going to be tough, Lou. That's it in a nutshell for me.
Yeah. I think, you take away his last start where he lost control. I think he's tough. The Miami used to be, when they came to the West Coast, it was almost like a given 2 out of 3. But, we forget. Last year they came in, they swept us. The games weren't even close. It was part of the Giants losing 5 games in a row. It was a horrible homestand. So, the thing about Miami is they're young and they're athletic. Yeah. And, the one thing about the Giants is they're sort of older and not really athletic. Our best runner really hasn't played all season. We don't really have a bench. Where Miami, one of their best players is a former Giant. They have better starting pitching than us. So I think it's going to be tough. Miami is very scrappy. So, we'll see. So I think it can go either way.
I do want to say one more thing before I get off, because I know you guys got calls on the other line. I hate the fact, and this is coming from a fan that absolutely hates seeing players get treated like this. I respect the rivalry of the Yankees and Red Sox. I hated the way that Boston fans have been heckling Cam Schlittler all because of something online. Like it shouldn't even gone like that.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I agree, but it's sports, Lou. That's fans of an opposition.
Justin, it could be worse. You could be a coach of an NFL team in the Boston area, and speaking of that, is he going to survive? I personally think he will not be. Okay, you think he's going to survive it? Because being on the internet, it's brutal.
It's stuff that happened 6 years ago, and all of a sudden it's Boston media. We're used to this.
Okay. I think it'll die off like everything else in time. Give it time. But before you go, I got a question for you tonight on the way out, Justin. Senior's been in a couple of times poking me in the rib series, like, Glenn, what do we do with Devers? If you look back at his days in Boston now, take us a trip down memory lane, if you would, there, Justin. Is the Devers we see today up there just flailing? You just never know what his at-bats look. Don't they look sluggish, for lack of a better word, Lou? He's just up there hacking. And if he hits the long ball, and with his swing, sooner or later he'll do it. But they're few and far between. Justin, is that what we were supposed to be expecting here?
I'll give you 2 answers for this. Answer number 1, Bregman did very well in Boston before leaving for Chicago. And look at him now. He's not doing that well with the Chicago Cubs. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Cubs swept the Philadelphia Phillies, which, by the way, I really hope the Phillies beat the Braves this weekend, so you guys don't have to worry about their losing streak. But we'll see. Secondly,
part 2. Go ahead.
Part 2. I want to say don't worry about Devers. He'll be fine.
No, is that your heart or your head? As a former player for your team, I mean, one breath you're saying, well,
he's not fine.
You sound very reluctant.
He's not fine.
No, I'm telling
you. Could he be injured and not telling anybody?
Oh, he could. His
swing is sort of slow, and he's always 0-2, and there are a lot of pitches that he's missing.
Lou, I wouldn't even be shocked if he was injured and he's not telling anybody.
Old man Devers. All right, Justin, we're going to get to the other callers here, and I appreciate you as always, buddy. Good takes on tonight's topic.
Good luck.
Good luck, guys.
Okay, buddy. There you go, Justin, all the way from Massachusetts. Everybody says Massachusetts. It's Massachusetts, and he wants you to know that. Senior, ask about Devers. We did. Old man Devers. I think I'll go. I think I'm going to go to my grave, Lou. That's why I keep taking those pills, like my heart pills. I want to last. I got to stick around with my buddy Lou for many a night of this crap, right, Lou? And I see Lou's holding out on the. You know how much I love those green liquor or red licorice. You get the red ones tonight? Yeah, you get the red licorices. You know I love the red ones and the green ones, but I always hold out. But Lou, I think we've been sold a bill of goods.
You know, he brings up a good point where Bergman's having problems, the same thing. Do you think maybe just Boston is such a great hitter's ballpark?
That's it.
When they go somewhere else, they can't adapt. And, you know, I see Devers where, you know, he has that stance and you're always hoping. But, you know, right now, he's sort of been horrible.
No change.
No change. I know we gave up 3 guys and only 1 guy's really in the majors, but we got stuck with that contract. You know, maybe Boston said, we signed this guy because we had to. Let's get away. And we'll do whatever it takes because Dever has a name. They went to someone who's first year, who's Buster, and said, Buster, we're willing to do this. If you notice, we really didn't give much up. We gave up a guy that we wanted to get rid of. We gave up someone young, and then we gave up a guy that might have a future in Harrison. And, you know, now Boston, they save $140 million, you know, and you got to remember what's sort of amazing is they got rid of that contract. Then they got rid of Bergman. Now, I know they're not playing well, but they've saved like $300 million. You know, something the Giants would never do.
Name of the game, Lou, because if you're the Boston Red Sox, and if you put us in that situation, if we were to move them, Lou, you're opening up that money, gives you options.
Yep.
Gives you options. I think in the long run, the Red Sox end up with more. Not from our deal with the players. They'll end up with more based on the capital they have to work with. And correct. I still say also, Lou, I don't know if you agree with me, when you look at those contracts, Devers, Chapman, Adames, man, we are pigeonholed into a corner for a hell of a lot of years, Lou.
At least another 5 years, guaranteed. And we're not even sure about Lee. You know, here's the problem with Lee. Lee's for 2 more years. Then they have an option. Well, if Lee plays well, he's going to stay with us. If not, we're going to lose him. You know, and it's kind of the point, too, where in 3 years, you know, the Giants are so much homers, they're not going to do anything with Webb. We can see Webb's not the same guy. Maybe think about trading him now so you can get him with 2 years of control. But the Giants are saying, no. I saw a thing today. Are you aware Webb's been with the Giants for 13 years, considering when he came out of high school? 13 years.
Yeah.
And what do we have for those 13 years?
Pretty thin, Lou. Yeah, you know what? There's going to be the one. I think Senior's got to agree with me. Senior, you know, especially because you see a lot of A's games up there in the Northern California region, and you are a bit of an A's fan. At least you want Langoliers off my fantasy team awful bad. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I think the good thing is, Lou, that you're talking 3 years or 4 years, 5 years in the future. I think these guys that are just percolating in our farm system might be able to step in. So you lose Lee. Well, what's wrong with giving the Davidson a chance, Bo Davidson a chance? Or, you know, hopefully by then Eldridge will be a fixture in our lineup. And I still think, Lou, this team, you think this team would be any worse with him in the lineup? I don't think so. Plus, I think it give you a little bit of a. I think you give it a little bit of a boost. I really go to the. Remember earlier in the season, we were talking about what jersey I would buy. I really haven't hitched the wagon any horse yet. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite player, Lou, since Wilmer's gone. I don't know who's my guy. And I told you, you know, for lack of anybody else, it's Vitello. I want to see him do good. I think if Vitello does, think about this, Lou. The better Vitello does, in the long run, it means success for the Giants. If he's doing well, it means our team is successful.
You know, I think when you really think about it, and I know people think you're so negative, all this, but I just want you guys to look at our starting lineup and tell me, if you take Arias away, who would want these other guys? offensively and defensively. So in other words, forget about someone like Chapman, who's so great defensively and offensively. Would he start anywhere just in our division? You know, when you look at him, I mean, here, I'm going to bring it up. Look at our lineup. Willie Adames, $36 million a year. Who would want him for $36 million a year?
I'll tell you who wants him, Lou. Somebody at the deadline who's making the run.
Okay, good
That's
point.
the option. Okay?
Matt Chapman, $27 million a year, who right now is hitting 286. But again, it's still early.
Mm-hmm.
Defense has been okay. Who's going to want him at that price?
Again, you may be able to make your move, get rid of him to a team that's a Yankee team or a Dodger, somebody who's in the race, Lou. But nobody's taking. I know where you're going with this. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Same thing with Devers.
These are players.
Yep.
These are players who really nobody else needs. Nobody needs these players, Lou.
And I'll bring up Bailey. Who else in the league would want someone like Bailey? A guy that bats 150, gets big hits. And I think the other thing with ABS, he's not as effective this year. He has had guys steal on him. He can't hit. He is horrible when the ABS comes. We treat these guys, our guys, like they're Hall of Famers. Even though he won a Golden Glove, that doesn't mean anything. You know, when you look at our lineup, Webb, same thing. Everyone thinks, oh, he's one of the aces. He's this. I think what's happened is he's pitched over 200 innings. It's caught up to him. He's not the same player, okay? He's getting older. Like I just said, he's been in the organization 13 years. He's not an ace, okay? He hasn't been an ace all season. At home, his ERA is 7.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I looked, Oracle Park is a pitcher's park, okay? You know, you look at our lineup, it's bad. I mean, again, a couple of relievers might be there, but nobody would want our closer. Nobody in the major leagues would want him. So I think it's come to the point now where the Giants have guys, we're sort of stuck with them. And we just hope that they are producing. And if they do that, we're close to 500. If not, they're going to be like we thought, probably a 70, 75 win team, and they're battling for the cellar. Plain and simple.
Yeah. And for some reason, I think it's because of these, they're not, I really can't put my thumb on it, Lou. I try to, don't you agree that they're just not, like Chapman's good defender, above average. He's a vacuum cleaner there at third, but he's just not, he doesn't have the charm. He doesn't have the sizzle. Like, I don't see any, it's rare you see a Chapman jersey walking around there at Oracle. I see more Boo Must Die jerseys than I see Chapman.
I think of a great defender like a Craig Nettles, right?
Oh,
when he played with San Diego and the Yankees.
Yeah, Yankees.
People wanted to be like him. Do you see any young kids that say, I want to be like Chapman? No, there's no one like that.
Or guys who were good at their position, but yet you knew what you were going to get. You're going to get some quality at bat. Remember the Penguin?
Oh, yeah. Ronnie
Say. I mean, Ronnie Say gave you at bats. And what do they like? They like the sizzle, but they like the off-field, like the hair. The fans of the Giants go to the ballpark. They want the fancy, that hairdo you were looking to get, Lou, the orange puffy hair, and they like the pretzel look. That's what they like, Lou. So I haven't figured it out. I'm just gonna stop trying to figure it out. By the way, when you're tuning into the show tonight, we don't have the biggest audience tonight, but it will certainly pick up over the next hour or so that we're on. Plus, of course, if you're watching this replay, thank you for joining us, and make sure you support all of our sponsors, including Tommy's, the home of the world famous Tommy's Margarita. Isabel must be happy, Lou. Your old friend Isabel's down in Los Angeles, and she's a big Dodger fan. But I'll give you credit, Isabel. You're a big baseball fan. Because, Lou, I don't know if you notice in the chat, she's with us every night, thick or thin, regardless of how the Dodgers are playing, which is usually pretty good, I might add, Lou, or how we're playing. Isabel's always there. Isabel!
Hey guys. Hey, be honest, guys. I haven't been able to listen to you the last couple of weeks because of the Dodgers and because my phone broke. So this is probably the first time tonight I've been able to listen to you. Well, I did listen to the replay this afternoon too. So Anyway,
Oh, awesome.
anyway,
Okay, so you
yeah.
lost. Your Dodgers lost two. What are you thinking? Are you disappointed?
I am, but then they didn't play well in Colorado. They just haven't been playing well. Period. Like being a Dodger fan, I have to admit they haven't been hitting and they've been pathetic. So
Well,
anyway,
it's funny you say that, Isabel. Lou, now she makes a point. They're a bit sporadic at the start of the year, but you know what you get from them? They kind of ramp it up, don't they? I mean, Lou, don't you wish we were saying how bad how you know we are not hitting, Lou? We're not hitting, we're not getting the pitching, but we're still 17-8.
I think the thing about the
yeah,
Dodgers is they will show up when they have to. I thought
Yep.
today was a great definition where they didn't want to be swept. It's
Yeah.
also tough when you're the world champions back to back to come out hungry that third year. You know,
Mm.
it's one of those things where that's why there hasn't been too many teams that repeat. You know, it's the same in all sports. They have a lot of distractions. You know, right now, I mean, Otani last year, of course, had the problem with the agent, with the gambling problem. Right now, you got new guys that are basically blending in. You had
Mhm.
Freeman, who just became a dad again for his sixth kid. You had pitching staff that has been good, but you also got to remember they lost their stopper for the year. But the thing about the Dodgers, they don't panic. It's a whole season. The Dodgers' plan is this: let's make sure we have one of the two best records. If we need to get somebody, we will. But we are here to get the ring. The Giants to be 500. That's the definition of being a winner in the
Yeah.
Dodgers. And the Dodgers know what it takes to repeat because they've done it. And, you know, that place, again, we're not giving enough credit to Colorado. Colorado's a good team at home. Okay.
Yeah.
The Dodgers probably went in saying, "Oh, we're playing Colorado." They were lucky to win 2 out of 4. Okay. But don't worry about the Dodgers. They, whenever they need something, will reload, and it's all about the ring, and they're going to be fine. Trust me.
Mm.
Who would you
yeah.
rather have now? Would you rather have the Dodgers for the rest of the season or the Padres? One team that is
I,
showing you they can win it, and the Padres that always get close, but they can't finish. So I'm
I'll
not
tell
worried
yeah,
about your thing, Isabel.
You know what I think,
I,
Lou? You bring up another outstanding point tonight just by throwing out some numbers there. The thing that scares me about the Colorado Rockies, and you only have to look back over the last week or so, telling tale. You want to compare the Rockies to the San Francisco Giants, Lou? On April 19th, they beat the Dodgers 9-6. On April 22nd, a couple of days, right? Uh, they beat San Diego 8-3. And then they lost to San Diego. But you know how much? They lost 10-8. So this is teams
Scoring.
putting runs on the board, whether it's at home, and they traditionally do at home, Lou, but they're doing it on the road too. You say the road record's good. We're gonna have to face that Colorado team. That's another couple of big series coming out throughout the year, Eric, or I should say Lou, where you gotta beat those teams. Take care of business. Those are the teams you got to beat. Teams in your own division, and these teams like I still call them the weak sisters, but you got to wake up sometimes and realize, teams like Miami and Colorado aren't going to be in the poorhouse forever. So,
Agree.
yeah,
Isabel, Isabel, do you watch a lot of what are the Dodgers have their own TV channel down there, don't they?
yeah, the Sportsnet LA, yeah.
Yeah, do you watch
Every
them?
kid, yeah, I do. Unfortunately, my TV not working out, but that's another story. We
Your
can go
phone's not
into
working.
later.
Your TV, you're having a rough go over there. Who's your favorite
No,
player?
I love Shohei. Be honest, I've been big Dodger fan since I was a kid, so I even like the old Dodgers too. So, yeah, I just love all of them. So, but hey, Lou, I need to bring this up. I have to agree with you. I'm so sick of people saying because the Dodgers this buying the Dodgers. They're not forget people that the Dodgers. This didn't happen for the Dodgers overnight. It took
That's
years
true.
for it. So,
That's
and I'm,
true.
They
yeah,
they've made
and
great
I'm,
trades too. Great
yeah,
Yeah.
trades
they
because they have a
do.
great farm system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm so and I'm sorry. I can blame the players. I don't think there will be a lockout no matter what, but I'm sorry. I do not. It's hard for me to believe that every baseball team is broke. I'm sorry. It's hard for
Yeah.
me to believe it.
I keep forgetting
I,
about that term, Lou. Lockout, strike,
Agreed.
whatever we want to call it. That may
Yep.
be ahead of us.
I
Isabel, thanks for coming into the show. You got any parting words or questions, Lou?
No, thank you for being a fan of Giant Sports Talk Live, and don't worry about your Dodgers.
No,
They'll
I'm
be
not
fine.
really. But tell Eric hello for me, and hopefully I can talk to Eric soon, you guys. But I have to
Perfect.
somehow meet you guys this summer somehow. So
Awesome.
Thank
anyway,
you.
thanks anyway.
We
Okay.
appreciate you. There's Isabel. She's in Los Angeles. And again, there's something cool about this channel, Lou. Again, tonight I anticipated this. We're down in the numbers again, but everybody goes crazy over this freaking NFL crap, the draft. That's all I've heard. Listen, the Dodgers are in town. We take 2 out of 3, and all they're talking about is, who can the Niners take in the 5th round, Lou? They're trying to make deals. I don't care. The Dodgers are in town. I want to hear baseball talk, and people are coming here because we give it to them, including Dean. Let's go back out to the castle. I don't know what it was called in Harry Potter, but he's still there. I don't know if her what is it, Hermione's or what's her name?
Hermione.
Hermione? See,
Yeah.
he even knows them, Lou. See, I knew we were into
My
something
sister's
here.
a big fan.
There you go. Well, you got the look. Anyway, nice haircut. You're usually, you get the. Hey, look at Lou. He's trying to outdo you. Lou's getting rocking the nice haircut too, eh? And me, I got to get one. I'm just look at that. Just
Yeah, mine got a little long, so gotta
little
cut
crazy.
Gotta cut down.
So where are you sitting at the game tomorrow night? You and I got to hook up for a cold one.
Oh yeah, good question. Hold on, let me check my app here. But yeah, how are we feeling about tomorrow? Because I'm feeling a little on the fence about it, if at best.
Well, I think we just beat the Dodgers 2 in a row. So I mean, one loss to the Dodgers today. I don't think that's Giants baseball. I think they got a few more losses. And I mean, this is you're gonna play Giants baseball. It means you win 2 or 3, and you're gonna lose 3 or 4. What do you think, Lou? I think there's a couple of losses coming this weekend. Maybe 1, perhaps 2.
They're going against 2 great starters Friday and
Yes.
Saturday. And again, it's going to be a cold night. No excuse, but they need to get out. I think the thing with the Giants, they're a lot different when they get a lead. When they're playing goose eggs or the other team goes up 2-0, they're just one of these teams that I know they come back, but they don't get over the hurdle, I guess is the best way. So, if the Giants get down 3-0 early, they got to make sure Sandy just doesn't get in a good flow. Because if not, he'll pitch 7 innings, and before you know it, it's in the 7th quick, and we're down 3-0, and it's hard for us to come back on that. So
Lou,
they got
let
to
me
get
ask you a
Sandy
question,
close.
though. Lou, you just said off the top of your statement there, you said might be a cold, damp night at the ballpark, damp weekend, who knows? Would that favor the Giants? I mean, we got a team coming in here from Miami, plays in a whole different climate, even though it may be indoors and stuff, but different climate here. I thought maybe it should give the advantage to the Giants.
Yeah, I always thought that was a big advantage at the Stick, but at the Oracle, it really hasn't been a huge advantage, especially with Miami being so young.
Well, you don't go to enough games like me and Dean. I'm over there. I got 2 layers of jackets on some nights.
Trust me, I know.
It's a little chilly over there, right? Right, Dean?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a 7:15 p.m. start, so it's gonna be pretty chilly.
Yeah, you're adding another half hour to the
Dean, what do you think of this Friday night 7:15 and Saturday night games at 6:30? I'm not a big fan, especially Saturday night at 6:30. I mean, we only have 2 more day games on Saturday, and the rest is all 6:30. And the Gigantes, the Giants trying to come up with a new gimmick where they're wearing their special unis. But 6:30 on a Saturday night, that's pretty brutal.
That, and I don't even like the 6:45 start because you're trying to get people in earlier, yet not late. Like traditionally, baseball started, Lou, back in the day. And again, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. And when I was growing up, 70s, 80s, games were 7:35 starts. People were home from work. People could go home, drop stuff off, and get to the ballpark, get their family. Ball games were 7:05 and 7:35. Now they're starting at 6:35 and 6:45. Like, why do the Giants, Lou, have to do everything different?
You got to be more consistent. Yeah. I mean, It used to be have the day game. I mean, I used to remember every Saturday and Sunday was a day game. And then on Sunday, they then went to the Sunday night baseball would be a 4:05 start. But Saturday
they don't
night
even do that right, Lou. We got games starting at 1:05, 12:35. 12:45. There's no consistency with this team whatsoever in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I agree there, but I'm not sure if it's their fault because if you watch their last road trip, they played at 3, they played at 3:35, they played at 3:20. It's tough. And, for us to put Giant Sports Talk Live on, we're not even sure what time we're going on half the time. We have to check
you don't
the
have to tell me,
billboard.
Dean, I was just in Hawaii. The Giants game Sunday started at 6:35 in the morning. Don't laugh. That's pretty early for this guy.
No, yeah. I feel for you, bud.
I want to take a moment with you two on the screen with me to recognize someone near and dear to our heart here at Giants Sports Talk Live.
Hey, it's Henry for Tommy's, and we are so glad to have Giant Sports Talk Live as far as Tommy's family. We're so proud to be their major sponsor, and hey, please come to have a cocktail with us and go Giants.
Your number one source for Giant sports talk and debate. Always has been, always will be. Giant Sports Talk Live.
Dean, we got to get you hooked up with a Tommy's margarita.
Sit at the bar with us.
Yeah, we'll have to get you hooked up. All right, well, so we've gotten Lou thinks it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough. And Dean, you think it's going to be a tough weekend. What do you anticipate?
Yeah, it's kind of like you said. Giants need to avoid getting into a hole early, and that's going to be tough with this Marlins team. As you said, they hit pretty well. I mean, obviously the cold weather might play a little bit of a factor, ballpark factors as well. But, I look at the Marlins and it's like, that's a hitting team that like actually looks like a hitting team, you know, like they have the identity of a hitting team, and there's not really much in question there. They also have the same issue as us in the sense that they're missing power, but they make up for it with good hitting and smart base running. So it's going to be an uphill battle. We got, I believe it's Hauser tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I mean,
Tantra. I can never say
Hauser's looked okay. I haven't really formed much of an opinion on Hauser yet. But Alcantara comes with his reputation. I think it's gonna be a tough game. And yeah, I think Giants can still maybe keep it close, but I'm seeing potentially something like a 3-2 loss out of tomorrow, if I had to guess.
Lou corrected me earlier in the show. I thought if we sweep, I still thought we'd be a game under 500. You corrected me, Lou. I appreciate that. If we sweep the Marlins, we finish the month at the 500 mark. So sometimes we get caught up with, we want to win. Is this team really bad? Is it really like what we expected? Lou, didn't we not think a 500 record at the end of the first month of the season is exactly where we wanted to be?
I predicted they wouldn't be. So anything above that, we both thought, especially in their first 30 to 40 games, the schedule was tough. The thing about the Giants is when you think back, you think they've had a great start to the season. But when you look at the record, it's not, and I think it's too much. We win 3, we lose 5. Then we come back, we win 4, and we lose 4. They're just too inconsistent. And it's the whole team. Right now we're praising how good the bullpen is. Okay, great. Yeah. But, our closer occasionally, we had a buddy that went to the game on Tuesday night. He saw our closer was coming in and he didn't even want to show his face. He was so offended.
He was embarrassed.
He was embarrassed.
He was actually embarrassed to be seen as a fan at the game. That's how bad
when our closer came in. Yeah, there it is. I mean, look at that. So I think it's just one of those things where the Giants I think the Giants are such a team where either the whole team produces and they win, or they're just who they are. They either win as a team or they lose as a team.
Feast or famine
at best.
Feast or famine lineup. Feast or famine.
And I think we're lucky we have a Riot.
You're going to get games where you look at their offense, they're going to score. And I said that early in the year. Do you remember back in the late stages of the preseason, Lou, we had a game and I think we won 13-12 or we lost 13-12, whichever it was. I think it was against Milwaukee. And I said, you're going to get a lot of those games where we score, holy crap, 12 runs and we lose 13-12. And then we're going to have games like today, you only get one hit, Lou. So I'm just struggling to try to figure out in my mind's eye here, picture where these wins are coming. Because, Lou, we talk about this month, it's almost in the books. But now when I look around Major League Baseball, I see teams like the Cubs at 9-1 over their last 10. And Cincinnati, we just finished up with them. You've got Colorado playing, are they playing above their head? Or is this the better Colorado team we can expect to see throughout the year, Lou?
Young,
we got to worry about what's ahead.
Yeah, I think the thing, too, is just look at the Giants in the wild card right now. How many teams are producing home and away? And I think, we noticed, look at Bailey. He got the big homers last night, only had one RBI before last night. This is our starting catcher. This is the guy that everyone praises. One RBI? Come on. Look how many steals we have on the air. You would never know who's stolen the most bases for the Giants this year. Arias, the slowest guy, the guy that can't play defense. And I think it's one of the things where this team, as I've said before, you add Arias, but it's basically the same team that really struggles. And I think you bring up a great point, Dean, because I brought this up last week. We went 5 games where we didn't even get one walk. That's almost impossible in the major leagues. Dean, you brought up a point. I think we're dead last in walks. Well, it doesn't matter if you can't hit. Who cares about the strikeouts? Because you're not getting those added runners on base. So that means we're doing a lot of rounders to second, weak flies to center. And this is the type of team where we have to play 100% great defense, or that's another flaw against us. But when you can't walk, it's bad. Yeah, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Lou, no, before I lose my thought here, which I often do, if correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're not getting the walks, it means you're not taking pitches. You're not putting any pressure on the opposition's arm, are you? You're not working them and getting to their pen. I mean, it makes for a much easier night for the opposite. Again, I touched on it earlier, Lou. We make other pitching staffs look good.
Oh, yeah, and they get in a flow. Any of these guys in the major league, if they can just get their system, get their pitches over, it's amazing when the Giants pitchers pitch in the 5th inning, they're at 89 pitches. When it's the opposing pitchers in the 5th inning, they're like at 60. Like Glasnow today, if it was a playoff game, probably would have gone the whole game, and he was never had any pressure points. And I think the biggest problem with the Giants starters is, again, Webb has blessed us. He's been good. This year, he's not been good. And really, if you take Roop's one win away, he's the only one that's really been in the flow. I know last night, our pitcher pitched well, but it's very shaky, at least, where it almost seems like the opposing team has the advantage every game. If you take Roop out, it's not like, okay, Webb's our ace. We're going to be going against their ace. No, that guy is doing it because we're not taking pitches. We're not creating offense. We're not creating runs. And what's funny about the Giants, and we talked about this a few times, they're the only team that'll score 7 runs on 14 hits, look great, and then the next game, 0 runs on 3 hits. But they do it constantly like that. It's just one of those things.
And it's coming too, Lou, right? You and I talk about it when we do morning shows and stuff. We can almost predict it based. And Dean, I don't know if you caught any of last night's show. It was a little, people were pretty excited. But I felt like Patrick Bailey, our chat thought Patrick Bailey was the second coming of Thurman Munson in the batter's box. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. How quickly we went from Bailey to get rid of him. We want Susac to, oh my God, all hail Patrick Bailey with one swing. Bailey is still a detriment to this team offensively. That is not going to change no matter how many big nights he has like that, because they're too few and far between, Dean.
Yeah, am I supposed to applaud for one home run in every 23 games? Like, sure, came at the best possible spot, but are we just going to ignore the entire body of knowledge that we have of Bailey up to this point? Not just this season, but last season and the season before that.
There you go.
That's recency bias.
Even the worst major leaguers get some nice bat on the ball and get nice base hits once in a while.
They are in the major league. Dean, I have a question because me and Glenn have been going back and forth. What do you think about Bailey overall defensively and his ABS system, where it seems to me the Giants don't have a clue, first of all, how to work the ABS system. And it seems to me Bailey's wrong probably 80% of the time. Or is that just me? I mean, I know you sort of like dissect it, but have you noticed that too? Runners are, running against us. The other night, if it wasn't for Arias' amazing play where he tagged him late, it would have been 5 straight steals against Bailey. And my question is, why is he doing the ABS 1 out in the first inning on a 1-1 pitch? Don't you think maybe they should use that, like maybe in the 5th or 6th inning when it's more important in the game?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Bailey's use of ABS has been pretty baffling up to this point. Now, like, he's had a couple games where the framing actually has gotten them a few extra outs that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten. But outside of those maybe 2 games where that's happened, which did include one of the Dodgers games, actually. One of the Dodger games, he did actually frame particularly well. But besides that, it's still, it just still doesn't work out. And I agree, Lou. He hasn't had a great track record with challenging the calls. And he hasn't gotten a lot of them right, which you kind of need out of your catcher. Like, I've seen some catchers play against us who have worked the ABS masterfully, and with Bailey, it's just like so many of them are just head scratchers, and I'm like, this either it's not the time, or it's just very clearly not not a ball or not a strike or whatever.
Dean, did you watch the game today, pal?
I couldn't because I was at work today, but I was following along with it, and it clearly looked like I didn't miss much. But
no, you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much at all. Eric says, great day when I joined the show after I got back from the ballpark. You remember, Lou? He says, great day for a ball game over there. I go, yeah, I wish I'd seen one, which I saw a great game. But I brought something up on the show today, and super salty here, and Eric, they didn't really notice it. But when I brought it to their attention, they had to agree with me. It was early. It was the first inning of the ball game. The leadoff batter was out. Freddie Freeman has, I think it was a 1-0, a ball and no strike count. And he did the AB, whatever you call ABS, whatever it's called. What are you doing? You take, so what if it's a ball or a strike? You got to work these into, I think the Giants are failing to miss the point that they're like challenges in football. If you want to go that route, Lou, you got to use them at the appropriate time and not so he got it. The problem, he got it wrong. So what are you doing that there's nobody on base and you got 1 out in the top of the first inning and you're doing that. What is the purpose? Are you trying to show up the umpire? Are you trying to be smarter? I know how to frame, so I know that. I'm going to call that one. And it just wasted. You gotta, and I called it pick your poison. You gotta pick your spots, Dean, when and not when to do it.
And a couple of them have been wrong by 3 feet.
Today was the ball is off, and I don't get it. I just don't. You can't waste.
It's just a waste. You're giving them unnecessary advantages. Again, it's those little things, right? It's just like those little disadvantages that you accrue that already put you in the hole. And as we just said, they can't seem to play very well when they put themselves in a hole, and they've just automatically, without even realizing it at the very beginning of the game, put themselves in an unnecessary hole for ultimately no reason.
Lou, we've seen that though, Lou. What is it about baseball doing this? So they only have a couple of their challenges as well. And sometimes you see we're watching a game, no matter which teams are playing, and it's not just the Giants by any stretch of this imagination. You're watching the game and you're watching and you go, oh my God, he was out. The Giants will challenge the play. I'm like, you're just wasting it. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you that desperate that you know it's not getting overturned, but you're doing it anyway? What was the purpose of this? Anyway,
Again,
I
it
think
could
they
be
should add one. I think they should.
reaction.
I'm against them. Lou, I'm against them, but I think they should add one. 3 gives you a little bit of maneuverability, and I think they're not taking long to do them on the big scoreboard where they're boom, done.
Yeah.
I like it. I never thought I'd be saying that. I think 2 leaves you kind of, you're handcuffed. 3 would be perfect. No more, no less.
Good point.
Just my feeling. Anything else, Dean, before we head out of here? I say every night, you notice that, Lou? Every night I say, I'm going to go a half-hour show. Is an hour and 26 minutes here.
There you go.
Glenn, what section you said you were going to be at tomorrow?
I think I'm in 127. But, I'm in that general area, so I always spot you. I won't be able to spot you with the hair. You're looking so good these days. I can always
Look, I'll text you. I'll text you.
I see the guy coming up the stairs, Lou, carrying look. It looks like, a Neanderthal coming up the stairs carrying this big thing. I go, oh, that's just a scorebook. This guy has a scorebook, Lou. You've never seen it in person, and I'll never forget. It's a great story. Never forget the night I met Dean, and I'm looking down the aisle. Do you remember that? I was to your right, Dean, and I kept looking down. I go, it's a hell of a big scorebook for a team that's not making the playoffs. And he's like, I still got hope. But he's got a scorebook. He could have done 2 seasons.
Just in case. But yep, got a new one printed out. We're all ready to go for the season.
There you go.
Boy,
Dean,
there's still the extra pages because by God, baseball is a weird sport sometimes, and you never know what's gonna happen. Yeah. So Dean, you gotta cover all your bases, no pun intended.
Yep. Giants do.
Dean, I don't know if you're probably a little bit too young, but when you used to be able to buy, it was $1. You get the program, and they had the scorebook inside it.
The little cardboard.
Like a religion, the little cardboard, and like
they
a
give
religion.
You a pencil.
So you keep stats.
Yeah. One time I forgot to bring one. They still give you the little golf pencil.
The little golf pencil.
The only negative of keeping score is when you have one of those crazy innings, and I always thought I was good enough where one of the jobs being, I never knew I was going to get that level, but I would have loved to have been an official scorekeeper. And when you keep your own stat, you're your own scorekeeper. And, especially in these games where, they're going to call it a hit or an error and you got to wait for the scorekeeper. It's some guy up front that probably wasn't even watching the play. But, it's something that a lot of the new generation, not blaming you, growing up, you used to look up, Glenn, am I right? You go to the left and right, and there'd be people everywhere. Everyone was keeping score. And then
because they put you in that.
Yeah. And what do you think? Do you think that was an error or a hit? Or what do I do when the guy's batting second time in an inning? Where do I go over?
Helping each other. Yeah. But Lou, you used to walk into the ballpark when I was a kid anyway. Yeah. And you would have the guy be looking like he was going to do Sunday worship. He had this big pedestal up, and he'd have his big pile of yearbooks and game programs. And the score, you buy a program, they filled the scorebook in. And you know what that was cool about the scorecards? We call them scorecards, Lou. You know what's cool about the scorecard? You open it up, and it's what Dean's using. But the covers, they made it like it was frameable. It was memorable. It would have something Dodgers theme this week. And that all these teams, we have to save the world. Too much paper.
Yeah. The same way when I was going to say when they had the All-Star, when you had to pick the All-Star, where you actually had to poke the shit in. Yeah, it was the best growing up. I'll take 50, and then you had to put them in a box, and you felt like because the Giants never were in there, you either would write like Willie McCovey or you had to do it. And growing up, when you had a player of your team make the All-Star, you felt like it was because of you. And, that's something that a lot of people being an all-star is still great. But when you were the fans picked, it was just a different thing. But I admire you, Dean, keeping the stats because, growing up, I loved it. And that's something that, I used to do. And I did it for all the sports. I used to do it for hoops when the Warriors and Bill King was doing the announcing. And I go back on Channel 2 with Gary Park. And he would even tell people, hey, guys, that got changed from a hit to an error. So hopefully you weren't using a pen, you were using a pencil.
Yeah.
You know, and you had to
I
keep
always-
the stat. So
I don't know if you remember Gary Park. I always say to Super Salty Lou here, I say, must have been cool watching a ball game back then when he'd say, "Hi, this is Gary Park from Jerry Park in Montreal."
yep.
Do you remember Jerry Park, Dean? Probably not.
Nah, sorry.
You don't remember Jose Morales and the
Must be
Alous?
stop.
No, it was too young.
I wish
No, I do gotta.
I could say that. I don't know about you, Lou. I wish I could say that.
Yeah,
I do gotta tell a couple stories. Well, like first of all,
Sure.
like I gotta agree. Like every once in a while I'll see some folks keeping score, but it's definitely we're a dying breed. I feel like at this time, but still it is nice in the sense that every time I bring it, it generates a lot of conversation. You get to bond with with whoever happens to be sitting next to me over baseball, and that's what it's all about. So
We met.
yeah. So I mean, sure, there's not as many of us, but we're still out there. We're still keeping score. And so I'll do one thing I actually wanted to say too. You mentioned like those really ridiculous circus plays that you sometimes have to score. I did the last time I had to score one of those, I was at the it was a few years ago. The Giants were at Dodger Stadium, and there was that extra inning circus play that happened with people like with I think Betts over like got doubled up at third, and then there was a bad throw somewhere, and we had to. And at that point, I was just like paralyzed, just at that box. I'm
So
like,
you keep stats for the games on TV too, on the road games, and at the ballpark when you go. So you keep every game.
Yeah, I keep every game.
Awesome. That's
Well,
awesome.
let me ask you a question, Dean. Lou, maybe you know the answer to this, Lou, because I don't, and I consider myself a decent ball fan. Don't you pigeonhole yourself a little bit there, Dean? I'd be in the fourth inning having my second cocktail, be like, uh-oh, I'm going to miss an inning because I'm down in the can. Well, can you take a break? Are you all in, or are there a few breaks during the scoring there?
I will take breaks. Absolutely. When I go live, I try to stay in my seat from beginning to end. So I take care of all that business before and after. But when I'm at home watching it on TV, yeah, I'll take breaks. I'll be making dinner and just listening in.
Very good.
So yeah, I try to keep track, and then also sometimes I'll just miss a thing. It's fine. I'll just I'll just find it later and put it in.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow night at the ballpark. Okay, buddy?
Yep, I'll text you.
Do so. Make sure I'm there just in case anything comes up. But I'm guaranteed. I already have my ticket for sure for Saturday. I'm doing the Giants afternoon, then Valkyries doubleheader. So it's going to be a busy day for me. But I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
All right, sounds great, bud.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure as always.
Thanks, Dean. Yeah, good guy coming into the show like that.
Very knowledgeable.
As Dean says, every time he comes in, he's talking about the score in Lou. Always go number one before you use your number two pencil.
Obviously, good call.
All right, something. You know what? We like to make it not only the calls but the chat interactive. You guys have some things you wanted us to talk about on the way out of the show. Webb drilled rushing today. I thought it was an inappropriate time. I did catch after our show 95.7, they were talking about, they were just, oh, that's the greatest thing. It sets a precedent. I go, to me anyway, it's a 3-0 ball game. Whoops, my light just blew up. 3-0 ball game, Lou. I thought the game was still within reach, and I thought maybe Webb is just picking the wrong time to be doing this. How'd you feel?
First of all, did he do it on his own, or was he told to? I think it's something we got to do. The other thing is, you got to remember, they have 7 games there, and we only have 3 games at the very end of the season. So I think it's one of those things you got to figure out, why did you do it? And second of all, you lost the game. But you know what? Everyone's talking about that. So it's not like it's going to die down. And, they play in, and they got 4 games down at Dodger Stadium. And you know what? The Giants are going to be thinking about it. The Dodgers might not do anything until maybe the next time the Giants come there. But the Giants in their mind are going to say, okay, guys, just be ready. And, you're going to have the umpires where the Giants are thinking about it. If the Dodgers hit, they're both going to get warnings where now the Giants might get thrown out, even though it was the Dodgers that started it. So I think there's always time for that. I always thought it was good the last time you're going to meet them, because then you're not going to have to worry about it during spring training. I just don't like it because you're only down 3-0. Don't you think you can come back in the 7th?
That was my fear. Now, they did get out of it with a double play ball, which was no surprise. We only had the one hit on the day, but to plunk them in a 3-0 game in the 7th inning, I thought was a little not picking your place. And that having been said, Lou, the only thing I fear is if they hadn't done it today, on the other side of the coin is this bleeds over to when we play in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
And my biggest fear about, I'm not exactly a fan. I know I refuse to go to games there myself. I have no interest in going to Dodger Stadium or Los Angeles for that matter. And my fear is when you get into that kind of a situation within game, it bleeds over to the crowd there, Lou. And, we as Giants fans know all too well how dangerous that can be.
It's been a disaster down for Giant fans down in LA.
Yeah.
I
see the Giants fans completely different breed the way they treat the Dodger fans up here at Oracle.
Agree.
Yeah. So I tip my hat to the Giants fans in all seriousness. All right, I want to get out of here. Or as Eric would say, Lou, let's get the hell out of here. Before we do, we're about an hour and 40 minutes into our half-hour show. So, God love us, joining you on a busy NFL football night. But I thought I was anxious to do it. Eric wanted the night off, and, he deserves it. I just thought that this gives our true Giant fans a chance to chime in, talk a little bit more about what I thought has been a very exciting week of baseball for the San Francisco Giants, Lou. And many of them are following the football NFL draft, which I said at the top of the show to Lou, I'd rather watch the players.
It's not the CFL, it's the NFL.
Yeah, it's just the NFL. We love Super Salty Lou, myself, and Kramer on Seinfeld. It's all about the CFL for us. Before we go, Lou, now they're popping in. They want us to stay.
Thanks, Robbie.
They want us to stay. If the Dodgers retaliate, you may see Vitello confront Roberts. That would be. In fact, Vitello went out and he questioned a call today. Oh, it was the slide. Immediately afterward, then rushing, he slid into a rise that caused a little controversy. Did they bring that up on the television broadcast?
I did not see him bring it up. They actually thought it was just a clean play.
I thought
from what I saw. It wasn't like, retaliation or something. But again, the Giants caught in the moment. It's baseball. It's getting to the point now where it's almost like football. What are they going to do? Play flag football? Just play the game hard, but play it the right way. And that's
Thanks, Robbie.
I'll just
appreciate
leave it at
you
that.
as always, keeping us going here on the show. Robbie's good friend of the show, brings the super chats. He supports the show, which we really do appreciate here on Giants Sports Talk Live. Let me ask you something on the way out, Lou, and it has to do with the slide and the way baseball is played today. The only people who seem to have a different opinion than me are the young people who only know it as a clean game. And, these players are so highly paid. You can't get them hurt. They can't break a nail. God love you, Lou. But I grew up in the, 70s, 80s. I loved ball back then, too. You know what? It was different because you didn't have instant access. And I just worshiped the players, Lou. And I couldn't wait if there was a game. You didn't have a game on TV every night. Back when I was a kid, anyway. Monday Night Baseball,
it was all radio
on ABC. But Lou, it was a man's game. You must have seen the famous print. Did you ever see the famous print? You ever see the famous print back from I think it was the 20s, and you see it was a Ty Cobb sliding into second base with the spikes,
with his cleats up.
That's baseball. And you want to watch? That's baseball.
How about this? Watch when the Giants and Dodgers played, I believe it was 1974, where they actually went against each other, a fight with bats. It was crazy. The other thing you're talking about 80s and 90s, if a guy got plucked, the other pitcher would hit one of the first two guys up, hit him in the back, and they called it even. Nowadays, people go, oh my God, the pitch. First of all, people got to realize the pitching nowadays isn't as good as it used to be. These other guys used to have pinpoint accuracy. Nowadays, sometimes they're going to lose it. They try curveballs that they can't, and the ball gets close. The exaggeration factor is so beyond belief. It's sort of like the ball missed you by a foot. It wasn't like it was an inch below your chin. And I just think the exaggeration and people getting caught up in the moment. And the other thing too is with your phones there, you can see it in slow replay. They didn't have that before. So a pitch might have looked close, but you never really knew how close it was. But also these guys did it because they didn't make much money. It was their life. It was all about winning. Nowadays, these guys, I don't want to play every day. It's all about the money. It's guaranteed. It's one of those things where they're all prima donnas. It's one of these things. You got to remember in the 70s and 80s, a lot of these guys had second jobs in the off season. So, it's one of those things where, and I think it's really the young generation. They don't know any better. And, with all this AI stuff on your phone, they thought that's just how it is, but it's not. You look at some of the brawls, Giant Dodger brawls with Marichal, Mays with a bat, because the rivalry was so intense. Nowadays, we see the Giants Dodgers, but it's not as intense as it was.
Lou, I don't know if this is what you were thinking of. You said around 70s. I've got this here. Thanks to our friends at Google. On August 22nd, 1965, Giants pitcher Juan Marichal hit Dodger catcher John Rosborough in the head with a bat at Candlestick Park, igniting a 14-minute all-out brawl triggered by tight pitches and a close return throw. The attack left Rosborough with a 2-inch cut. Marichal fined $1,750 and was suspended for 8 games. They say it was one of the most bizarre situations in Dodgers history.
That was that Candlestick. That was that stick.
Yes, August 22nd.
I thought it was later.
1965. We go down memory lane here on Giants.
And you could YouTube and you go, oh my God. And that's just how it was back then. People
One thing I also
I believe it was 1981. You had the way the division worked is you had to win the National League to get in the playoffs. It's not like it was where nowadays you have wild card. In a second, it was, you had to win. And, that's how crazy it was. The other thing, too, is people forget the NL West was so much tougher back then. It was the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, the Houston Astros, and the Atlanta Braves. That was our division. That's how tough it was. We didn't have Colorado, right? Because that was an expansion team later. It was so hard. And, that's when they went to the divisions. But before then, the Giants and Dodgers were so close so many times. You had to win it to advance. So that's just how it is. And, again, I think the baseball talent back then was a little bit better. I mean, we all see how great Ohtani is. And great, he's 1 in a million.
Yes, sir.
But when you take Ohtani out, these guys you think are good? No. You look at some of these guys. There used to be 30 guys hitting over 300. Getting close to 400 was sort of the standard. Guys hitting 30 homers was standard. The Giants didn't even have one guy that hit 30 for 20 years. 130 RBIs. I'll use Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield should be in the Hall of Fame, but they think he might have taken roids. He had, listen to these 3 years, 37, 39, 32. 147, 133, 129. Those were 3 consecutive years. Nowadays, think of the Giants that have actually had 100 RBIs. You don't hear about them. That's how great baseball was. They didn't strike out as much, and they played the ball the correct way. A great game would be maybe giving up 3 runs or less, 5 hits or less. And, you had specialists back then, too. Guys don't realize how great Bruce Sutter was, Raleigh Fingers, and they pitched 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th sometimes.
Oh yeah, there was nothing. Lou, that's a show we could do all in itself. You know, pitchers throwing 160 pitches. I mean, the freak. How many in was it his second no hitter? How many pitches did he throw in his no hitter? 145 or something?
Yeah, I think around 145.
Come on. I mean, those days are gone. Oh my you know what's happening? My light's going because my laptop's down to like 4%. So any moment we're going to lose you. So we're going to get out of here. As Eric would say, let's get the hell out of here. Hell of a series, Lou. I'm looking forward to the Miami Marlins. Looking forward to a weekend of Giant Sports Talk Live with you and Eric. The fun never ends. I'm really maybe it's just the juices are flowing. The batteries are recharged after my trip to Hawaii.
You're back.
I'm back, baby. And I'm just, God love me. God love me. I'm trying to cheer on this team, Lou. I'm trying.
I'll be there with you tomorrow. I'll be tomorrow at the game with you. Let's see
you tomorrow, pal.
All right, buddy.
See ya. And we'll be on after the completion of the Miami game. Eric, Lou, and myself, Glenn, right here on Giant Sports Talk Live. Thanks to the man who gave us the super chat. Only one tonight, but we appreciate it. Robbie Mann, thank you so much. Thanks for everybody who came into the chat, everybody who participated as part of the show. We even had, we had room. We had time for Chardall. He popped in. He said, I'm getting out of here. I got to go back to see who the Niners are drafting. So have fun at the draft. Yeah. And Lou, I'll see you tomorrow night, pal.
Sounds good.
And
thank you, chat.
Yeah, thanks. And don't forget, guys, to support our sponsors. We had them up on the screen earlier, and I can do that now if you'd like. We got Lefties, Duxwell Printing, BetterCreditCards.com, Tommy's, home of the margarita. Don't forget it. We won't let you forget it. And we want to always get you to support Signatures for Soldiers and all the kind work they do at Giant Sports Talk Live, a Northern Lights Entertainment broadcasting station. Don't panic. We got the Marlins coming to town, baby. Oh, yeah, they got Alcantara coming tomorrow, too. Oh, jeez.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.